1% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get pumped, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, AB skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in a Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the Hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters gon' move, whatever click you choose.
Say what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Yard down. For those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. Man, yeah, let's hop right up into this video, man, because I got a lot to talk about, and it's on and cracking. You already know what it is, man. So look. I believe it was last Friday or last Saturday, I believe it was. You know, I'm just chilling, doing my thing, sitting back, relaxing, right, reading through my comments. I get a notification or I get a comment. Somebody says, hey, man, you know, hey, chill, Dubs is live and he is talking crazy about you, right? And see, this is what this dude does. A lot of people think that, you know, I just be thinking about this dude or whatever, man. This dude on his lives, he'll talk stuff about me, then he'll just erase the live, right? So anyway, I don't go to the live and check it out. You know, I go to later on, I believe it was Exposed Tube. Shout out to Exposed Tube, because I know a few channels will often record this dude when he goes live, because, you know, they're basically banking on this dude getting drunk and doing something crazy like he normally always does, right? So I go over to the Exposed Tube and I watched the, you know, the live, and I run across basically where he's talking about he had got my board transcript. Once again, man, I welcome you. I implore you. I ask you. I encourage you to react to my board transcripts, right? Let me just show you guys a clip when Dubs made a comment, right? And check this out.
Somebody went and found a writ that was filed in my civil litigation civil rights suit, right? Now, if you remember, a lot of these guys, first of all, I want you guys to see. So I've seen, I won't watch these videos. It's hilarious. But I do watch like the first few minutes of it just to get the tone of it and hear what they're saying in the first few minutes. And for those of you that see these videos, I want you to see how giddy, how feminine some of these dudes are in their excitement. They think it's a gotcha moment, right?
So now definitely just be sure to keep that in mind, right? Now I'm going to show you the live in which he was talking about my board transcripts and so on and so forth right now. During this live, he plays music and stuff. And so if the music is copyrighted, you can't monetize the video. So I may just have to show you guys small clips, because I believe you can only play like 5 seconds of copyrighted music before, you know, you get flagged, and then you're not able to monetize the video. So I might have to break it up or whatever. But anyway, check this out.
And I paroled with over 100 points. What about your boy? You know, I ain't gonna say if there's 19 points. Yes.
I want you to see how giddy, how feminine some of these dudes are in their excitement. They think it's a gotcha moment, right?
I'm gonna send you it, the picture. It's not Fernando. It's the other one, the rapper.
So once again, you hear him discussing that he has went and got the transcripts from my board hearing. All that stuff is public information, right? So all you have to do is you have to know the individual's name, who you want to request his transcripts. Then you basically send a request to the California Board Parole Hearings, and you know eventually you'll get the transcripts, whether it might come back in an email or I think you can pay to get it. You can pay to get it sent to you in paper. So obviously he was interested in me enough to pay his hard-earned money to take his time to submit a request and go through all this type of stuff to get my transcripts in hopes of reading them and finding something that he could expose about me, try to humiliate me. Oh, look, man, Chill's in here snitching or whatever, to try to make me look bad. Unfortunately, Dubs wasn't able to find anything like that. Once again, I welcome you to react to my board transcripts, right? So now he has to get joy and hang his hat on the fact that Chill paroled with 19 points. Man, I'm on a level 2. Did you expect for me to have level 4 points? So I paroled from a general population level 2 yard. The California prison system is based on a point system, right? So, of course, in order to get parole, you have to stay out of trouble. They want the lifers to at least be out of trouble for 5 years. So if you're working and you have a job in the California prison system, each year you're gonna lose 8 points, right? So eventually, yes, my points dropped. I went to a level 2. I mean, I had level 2 points. What do you expect? I was on a level 2. So that's what you're gonna derive your joy from. You're gonna get joy from the fact that Chill had 19 points, but then in that video he goes on to say, but me, I paroled with 100 points. But yeah, you paroled from an SNY yard with the worst of the worst. You was on the SNY yard once again, rolling with the O car, the pedos, the rapos, and the homos. But that's okay. You was on there 13 years. But that brings you joy to know that Chill paroled with 19 points, when I definitely think that you have bigger things to worry about, man. And so I'm gonna get into I'm gonna react to this video where this individual is reacting to a civil suit that Dubs filed. Sometimes Dubs supporters be like, hey, Chill, you're biased, so on and so forth. So what I went and did is I went and found another content creator reacting to this civil suit. So let me show you guys a video where Dubs does admit that this civil suit is real and is something that he filed.
So, the paperwork. The paperwork. So, recently, somebody went and found a writ that was filed in my civil litigation, civil rights suit, right?
So once again, this is a real civil suit filed by Dubs, and I'm going to be reacting to another content creator. The name of his page is called Inside and Out with Ronnie Harrell.
Okay, Mr. Villa is a former member of the Mexican Mafia. His life is in danger each time he is exposed to the general population. They say, oh, his lawyer wrote that. Yeah, but did his lawyer pick this information up out of thin air? Did he make it up? Who do you think he got this information from? It came from Dubs, and I'm going to prove it before it's all said and done, right?
Now, I just want to pause the video to say, I seen the video that Dubs made maybe about a month or so ago, and Dubs was saying that he is a paralegal. I believe he was saying in criminal law and some other type of law. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what a paralegal is a very highly trained lawyer's assistant, basically a legal assistant, a person that's extremely knowledgeable about the law. So what a paralegal does is, say you may get arrested, right? You may have a case where you're driving, the police pull you over, they find a gun or whatever, and do an unlawful search. So the paralegal, he basically prepares the case for the lawyer to go to trial. So he'll research all the cases that he can find that is somewhat similar to those same circumstances and say, okay, well, this guy, you know what? He got out because the police illegally searched their car, and here's law backing what happened. And then the paralegal presents all this evidence to the lawyer. Then the lawyer goes in there and discusses everything that happened. But the paralegal is the one to research all that stuff. I say all that to say, if Dubs himself is claiming he's a paralegal, there's no way, no way in hell, right? He submitted this lawsuit. It goes to a lawyer. Then the lawyer does what he does. Then he sends it back for Dubs to sign and submit and declare under penalty of perjury that everything in this is true. This writ of habeas corpus, right? Or this civil lawsuit. So, I had filed an appeal pertaining to my situation, of course, when I had life. And when that appeal came back, my homie hooked it up. And when it came back in time for me to sign, of course, I read it, reread it, looked over it. So there's no way the words that was submitted in this lawsuit filed by Dubs was not read by Dubs, approved by Dubs, and signed by Dubs. Do not let Dubs fool you, saying that he didn't know his lawyer hooked it up.
Okay, so Mr. Villa was at Pelican Bay and decided to leave his gang and begin a series of debriefings and programs. Okay, now keep that in mind, debriefing, because I'm going to tell you how the debriefing process went, right? There was a time when you just go in and talk about your own fucking get down, right? And I know this because I asked these correctional, a couple of them, IGI and whatnot, that are retired now, and I asked them, hey, what's the process, man? Well, back in the day, they had the polygraph. They'd go in and they'd tell their story and they'd polygraph and all of that, and they'd let them go over to what was only, I guess, a couple of SNY type get downs, right? And so they would do that then and polygraph and all of that, man. And then it went into another time frame, all right, where these dudes that debriefed were required to tell. They were required to give up the tips and all of that, okay? And that was running probably from 1998 to maybe after they won the hunger strikes, which was...
So now, when he's saying that you were required to give up information on these tips, what he's referring to is the prison gangs. Some people refer to them as the Big Four, the gangs who were involved in that civil suit to end all hostilities. Those are very different from street gangs. Crips, Bloods, and Southsider street gangs. A gang that was formed in prison, if the California Department of Corrections happened to find you guilty of being a part of one of those, then that's why you became eligible and was given a indeterminate shoe. So that's what he's talking about when he says the tips.
Was 2010, maybe something like that, 12, when they won. They all went on hunger strikes and they won. Then they no longer had to tell to get out of the situation. So anything that happened between 1998 and 2012, any debriefing that took place in that time frame, they were telling. Okay.
So he's saying that basically that time frame that he just described, if you were had to debrief within that time frame, then you had to tell. We all know that Mr. Tough Talker tapped out in 2005, right? So what is that? I think Dubs may have spent 8 or 9 years on the main line. Keep in mind, a lot of these times he was intentionally getting caught with knives so he could go to the hole and do a shoe term and be in the safety of the hole, right? So he didn't really last long. If you count the shoe time that he done, he wasn't on the main line long. He spent, I believe it was 13 years straight on an SNY yard after debriefing, right? So like I said, I think he has bigger fish to fry than worrying about me paroling from a general population yard with 19 points.
That's just the bottom line. That's the truth of the matter. Anybody who says different don't know shit. So I'm just saying that. But again, I don't have a dog in this fight other than I don't like the way the dude talks about white people and writers. I don't dig his whole get down. His stilo's fucked up. All right. So yeah. So am I putting him on blast because of it? I am. And also you dudes that are blaming me like you're just going after him for this reason or that way. Look, he went after Wes Watson to build his fucking get down. Right. Now all of a sudden when it's happening with him, it's not cool. Oh yeah, it's fucking cool. And it's happening. Bottom line. So anyways, this is his writ. His lawyer got that information from him. Okay, Mr. Villa successfully completed the second phase of the program. Committee notes that the safety and security, Mr. Villa, and the institution would benefit his being considered for sensitive needs placement. All right. So we already know that, right? Upon the completion of his debriefing, Mr. Villa qualified for special needs program, right? The Mexican Mafia, and here is him, right? The Mexican Mafia is the most violent gang faction in California, credited with at least 300 murders per year outside prison on orders that were issued by the Mexican Mafia from inside prison. Declaration of John D. Villa in support of petition for writ of habeas corpus That's a declaration. That means that he's swearing under penalty of perjury that what he's saying is the truth. Actually, it's more than a declaration.
Hold on real quick. That's wild right there. Let me just back that up a little bit, right? And read what Dubs submitted in his lawsuit. Dubs right here says, I was granted SNY classification. Now this is Dubs' words. I was granted SNY classification by the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation because in part I went through a debriefing process where I incriminated myself and the Mexican mafia. Then he goes on to say the Mexican mafia could murder me at any time if I was not in the SNY program, which is the Sensitive Needs Yard program, which is pretty much equal to protective custody. He says, if I were not in the SNY program and if I was not housed separately from the general population during my transfer to San Quentin, when he was going to try to have this trial that he was, the civil trial that he was in, when he's going to try to have it, adjudicated or whatever. He says, it's obviously some type of typo, but he says, prison office placed me on a CDCR bus with the general population. This also took place in June 2011 for the prior trial. So basically he's saying that they are submitting him or subjecting him to potential harm by putting him in general population with dudes. If they find out he's SNY, would do great bodily harm to Dubs. So this is crazy.
Violent gang faction in California credited with at least 300 murders per year outside prison on orders that were issued by the Mexican mafia from inside prison. Declaration of John D. Villa in support of petition for writ of habeas corpus. That's a declaration. That means that he's swearing under penalty of perjury that what he's saying is the truth. Actually, it's more than a declaration. It's a rat jacket. Okay? And this writ was done in October 2011, but guess what? If you dig into here a little further, right? Just a little further. Actually, let's go over here. This is his committee chrono. There's his committee chrono.
Now, let me explain what a committee chrono to you guys is. So when you're locked up in the California Department of Corrections, every year you have what they call an annual, and it's basically an annual review, and it reviews your program, right? So you go in front of a counselor, a counselor's boss, which is called a CC2. There's a lieutenant, a captain, a warden there, and they basically just discuss your program. They discuss whether you're going to stay at that prison, you're going to go to another prison because your points have dropped, and now you require a lower level of security, or maybe you'll go to a higher prison. So they'll discuss. Basically, they'll just say, hey, Dubs, he has been working as a porter. He hasn't got any trouble. He wants to stay here, so on and so forth. Or they may say, Dubs has been working as a porter. He requests to move, to another prison because it's closer to his family or whatever. They just basically discuss what has occurred with you the last year, and then they decide what they're going to do with you. They document it, and then they put it into your central file, which is called a C file. So that's pretty much what he's discussing right here.
Chlamydia chrono, right? In the general section of subject central file, which documents subject as a validated dropout of the Mexican mafia inmate prison gang. They say he's never claimed to be that. Well, yeah, he says that. But that's not true. That was his claim. Whether he thought that would fast track him to a safe place, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't have a dog in that fight other than I don't like the dude's stilo. All right? Now, this is based on his willingness to debrief, his willingness to walk away from the prison gang entirely and politics. You don't have to walk away from a prison gang you weren't a member of, right? So he's claiming he's a member. Okay? Then it comes down here. Subject participated in committee, so he was there, and concurred with the committee's opinion that he required placement on a sensitive needs yard at this time due to his validated dropout status. Subject stated, thank you. Okay?
So now that's crazy, because in the past, I at least have heard Dubs talk about what yards they wouldn't put him up for. He was too tough to be sent to this yard. He's too tough to be sent to that yard. But when, upon his request, They tell him that we're going to send you to a sensitive needs yard with the O card once again, pedos, homos, rapos. He tells them, thank you.
So he's sitting in that with the committee, and he's telling them that he's a dropout. Now, that's what he's doing. Okay, it's right there in his own words. This is the chronos from in there, but I'm going to give you his sworn testimony to the courts. We're going to get into that in a minute. In the general section of Subject Central File, which documents subject as a validated dropout of the Mexican Mafia prison gang, counselor's opinion that he required placement in sensitive needs yard at this time due to his validated dropout status. Well, you know what? I want to ask you that we went through the dates on when somebody had to debrief or do anything like that when they had to tell, right? Effective 8/23/07. 8/23/07. Remember I told you the dates that dudes had to snitch on their fucking get down when they were debriefing. Well, he falls in them dates solid. All right. So yeah, he was telling straight out. I don't care what. I don't expect him to admit it, own it, or he would have already by now if he want to lose his viewers. So he's not going to admit. He's not going to own it. But it's in black and white. Not that it's relevant. This is the big yard out here. People tell all the time. All right. There's people get robbed at the supermarket. Guess what? They got 911 on speed dial. Right? They tell all the time. I mean, you know, the police are there for that reason. Like I said, I don't like him for the reasons I gave. But I'm going to make him own his shit. Now,
real quick, to me, it's crazy and it's funny, right? That when prison and what went on in prison does not seem to benefit Dubs, he makes it seem irrelevant. He downplays it. Oh man, who cares what happened in prison? That was prison. I'm a civilian now, so on and so forth. But then later on, he still at certain times tries to use it to brag about it. Oh, I parole with 100 points. Chill parole with 19 points. I mean, if it's irrelevant, it's irrelevant. If it matters, it matters. There's no, two ways about it. And like I say, once again, bragging that you parole from 100 points with an SNY yard is, that to me, that's crazy. When I was locked up, I did nothing to compromise my morals. I did nothing to compromise my standings, right? Or my ideology, right? I honestly think that change is good, right? I don't think that, an individual who joins a gang at the age of 16 should still have those same views and opinions in his 40s and 50s and so on and so forth, right? So I think that's good. But at the same time, if I'm going to prison because of I was thinking a certain way, while I may change who I am at least going to ride that situation out. I'm not going to change and suddenly jump over the fence now and get on the other side because I can't deal with my circumstances. That's how I view things. I'm going to come home in good standings, and then if I want to change my life, I'll move forward from there. I'm not going to rat. I'm not going to, tell on people and stuff because I can't handle a situation that I created for myself. And that's what I disagree with.
He says he never said nothing. This is his signature right here. John D. Villa Jr. This is the declaration.
I declare.
Minutes, right? This is the declaration for the court. This is what he sworn testimony to the courts for. All right? I, John D. Villa, declare I'm an inmate at the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, currently housed at Ironwood State Prison. This is his words. I have personal knowledge of the following and can completely testify.
How could you?
Completely testify.
Johnny, how could you?
To the contents of this declaration if called as a witness. So anything in here, he's now telling the court, put me on the stand, I'll tell you all about it. Okay? He'll tell you all about it. Call him in, put him on the stand, and he'll swear to it, right? Why?
And once again, that's why when you submit these type of legal documents, you do have to sign them and declare that you're not lying. And in the event this goes to trial, what I'm saying is 100% truthful. That's the whole purpose of signing your name. You're making a declaration. And so once again, he's saying that, hey, man, if I can testify that these things are true in the event that I have to. So, from the standpoint of an individual who's a civilian, okay, that's cool. You know, that may not seem bad, but for any dude who considers himself to be a gang member, a thug, a street person, a convict, a criminal, what have you, any type of cooperation with with any type of law enforcement agency is just strictly no good. And every convict knows that. Every criminal knows that, man. You're not supposed to have any type of being in concert in any way, shape, or form with law enforcement.
I'll tell you why. Because he's a rat. Okay? He's wanted to debrief to the court. Right there it is in his own words. This is his declaration signed by him. Now, I am a validated gang dropout with an SNY prison classification. As a validated gang dropout, I am targeted to be murdered by the Mexican mafia and their associates because of my dropout status. He's telling on the mob. He's saying, hey, they want to kill me. Hey, help. They want to kill me. I'm not even going to get into the starfish stuff. Help, they want to get me. Right? So that's his own words right there. And here he says here's his own words. The Mexican mafia is the most violent gang faction in California, credited with at least 300 murders per year outside prison on orders that were issued by the mafia from inside prison. So he's giving that up right here.
Now, I seen the video where, once again, Dubs admitted that, this suit was legitimate. So what he did is, of course, he wrote out the suit in his own handwriting, which he goes on to admit that, and then he sent it to the lawyer. But then he claims that the lawyer, he didn't have any experience in this field, and he went on and said things to try to help this lawsuit get ruled on in Dubs' favor. But once again, let's not forget that Dubs stated himself that he is a paralegal. And so when this lawsuit came back to Dubs for him to sign and declare under the penalty of perjury that all these things was true, once he read that stuff, Dubs should have said, hold on, no. This is not true. I'm not going to allow you to submit this and put this on me, because in the event this stuff does come out, I'm going to be the one who has to suffer the consequences. This is not true. We got to change this. He didn't do that. He willingly submitted this because he never assumed or never had any idea that this information would come out. I mean, and so, Dubs is an extremely large hypocrite. He contradicts himself all the time. He's been proven over and over and time again to be a tremendous liar. And, this is not exposing him at this point. It's just shining a little light on his situation once again.
The who, what, where, why, and all of that, I'm sure came up in the debriefing process. I mean, I wasn't there, but he had to tell on him to debrief and all that. And he's here saying he's willing to come into court and testify that they committed 300 murders.
Johnny, how could you?
So he's telling on the inmate at this point for 300 fucking murders and telling you that he's not. But this is a legal document. He signed, declared under penalty of perjury, and told him, hey, you know what? If that's not enough, call me in. I'll get on the stand. Okay? This is the thing he says is such a bad thing for anybody else to do. Like I said, people call the cops all the time out here. It's what they do. It's part of society. It's not part of that in there. And he made his get down. He built his podcast by going after somebody for the same kind of shit. And yet he didn't want to own his. Okay? Okay, so I was granted SNY classification by CDCR because, in part, I went through a debriefing process where I incriminated myself and the Mexican mafia. Do you hear what he's saying there? He went through it. He's telling you, I only had to tell my own story. I only had to incriminate myself, right?
I think this is a good time for me to insert something else that Dubs said.
I have never, ever told on anybody. Did I incriminate myself? Yes.
I'm telling you, no, his debriefing process didn't fit in the window. Now you can just go in there and tell you want to go to a 50-50 yard, and there you go. It's that easy. It's that simple. But during his window when he was doing all of this, that wasn't the get down. I was granted SNY classification by CDCR because, in part, I went through a debriefing process where I incriminated myself and the Mexican mafia. He incriminated the Mexican mafia in his debriefing process. It's in his own words. That's his declaration, right? We call it the Declaration of Independence because it's what gives him independence from the threat on his life, and he gets to go to an SNY yard. So anyways, that's his get down. He did go in there and debrief, and he did tell on the inmate, right? He says it in his own words. And now he wants you to believe that it didn't happen, that he didn't do it. Well, guess what? So that's all in his own words. This is his document, right? It was filed in 2612. Okay, case 3:07-CV-01436 WHA. So this, and then here it is right here, right? John D. Villa Jr. signature, his signature, Blythe, California. Okay, right here. So he says he'll go into court and testify that they killed 300 people. Yeah, he didn't just tell on one murder. In one swoop, he told on 300. All at once, in one. 300 murders per year outside prison on orders that were issued by the Mexican mafia from inside prison. You don't get to clean that up. That's who the fuck you are.
Not Mr. Tough Talker himself. Incredulous.
I don't have a dog in that fight, all right? But you're in a love-hate relationship with yourself, okay?
Stop right there, man. Do not let what he just said go over your head. I mean, those were some real words right there. He said Dubs is in a love-hate relationship with itself. 100% facts, in my opinion, man. Because listen, many times we'll see Dubs say something. He'll ridicule the individual for an action, a behavior, or doing something. Then we'll turn right around in another video and see him doing the exact same thing. Dubs hates the person he has become. You know, at one point in time, I truly do believe that Dubs was 100% in this street ideology, this gang, you know, philosophy, so on and so forth, right? And when you buy in wholeheartedly, 100%, you hate rats, you hate people who cooperate with the police, you hate people who go to the SNY yard. You know, it was a mentality most criminals and gang members adapted at one point in time. We all adapted that philosophy, right? And so when Dubs looks into the mirror and he sees Johnny Rata on the other side, he hates it. He hates it. You know, he still hates it. That's why you'll hear him holler and scream at people who went SNY, right? But he went SNY. You know, it's a part of him that still wants to be, accepted. And so that's where the love and hate relationship comes in with itself. You know, that's why you'll see him say, like in the video that I inserted, you know, that's why you see him say, hey man, you know, look at these guys. They get so feminine when they talk about me. Then you turn around and you look and you see him being feminine, releasing information or trying to release some information on somebody else. But at this point, Dubs, it doesn't matter what anybody else done, because when you jumped off the porch and you chose to join the gang, you wasn't with this dude or that dude. You made that oath with yourself. And so what does it matter what anybody else done? Why try to expose someone else when you in your heart know that you're a rat? That's feminine energy at its finest, man. So this is not being disrespectful when I say that Dubs is the true definition of a bitch. Dubs is a bitch. It's not being disrespectful. It's facts. Anytime you want to ridicule somebody for doing something that you're doing or you have done, that makes you the bitch. And so that's why Dubs becomes angry and he tries to project on everybody else certain situations that he himself has done, because he hates the fact that he done it. But due to the fact that he's narcissistic and he's so egotistical, he still can't see himself as the rat he is.
You hate white people so goddamn much, you're fucking half white, partner. All right? Mexican is a heritage. If you're not born in Mexico, you're really not Mexican. All right. It's a nationality. It means it's the nation you're from. It's a heritage. It's a derivative of two races. All right. One is Spaniard, which is European whites. The other is Azteca. All right. We all know the story about the war, the conquistadors, the Aztecs, how that went down, and that's how Mexicans came to be. So, Dubs, you're half white. This love-hate relationship you're having with yourself, I don't understand it. I mean, again, I don't have a dog in that fight either. That's between you and yourself. You know? What I do have is this is a silver bullet. You said it wasn't? You're full of it. It's a fucking silver bullet. And it's right up your fucking Dunkadons. Straight up.
I think we'll end the video right there, man. But like I said, so this dude has done some horrendous stuff if you still have a gang mentality, right? This dude that's went to the SNY yard for 13 years. He was in the O car, come on, man. We know the type of individuals who you will spot on these type of yards, but he programmed there peacefully. He didn't have anything, any violence that was documented for 13 years. That is extremely hard to do, right? Because if we're gonna keep it 100, we know a lot of these S&Y yards get cracking. Everybody on the S&Y yard is not there for bad, horrendous charges, right? Some of these dudes are there for whatever they're there for, right? And some of these dudes are still extremely violent. And still in that atmosphere, Dubs, he did peaceful time there for 13 years. It's hard to do a year in prison and not get into a write-up, not get into a situation that's going to get you a write-up, but 13 years. And so, like I said, man, this dude, he derives joy, though, knowing that Chill paroled from a general population yard with 19 points, but he had 100 points. He had 100 points. But he told on everything moving, man. So anyway, this is why I be on his hell mito for the Dub supporters, because this dude loves to take these little shots and he'll erase these lives. So you guys, unless you're not watching the live, you don't actually see his disrespect, his shenanigans, him shooting the SNY bullets, all that old type of stuff, man. But it is what it is. Make your own mind up, man. Anyway, you already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to Life. Resume normal program.